Welcome back to the Baseball Blue Book podcast. My name is Eric Wobenaw, the president of the Baseball Blue Book. Are you in the book? The most comprehensive directory since 1909 is now available for download on Google Play and Apple Store. You can also visit us at baseballbluebook.com for more information. So make sure you download it today. Costs nothing. It's great to build a profile, add highlights, add your stats for the summer season, and search our comprehensive directory. Find the coach, the program that you are interested in. Before we begin, hit that like button, share, and subscribe. We want to make sure we reach other viewers just like you to get this out. Today's podcast is brought to you by Empowerment Sports Group, a full advisory and consulting firm with over 10 years of experience, educating and helping athletes develop within baseball and life. ESG enables athletes to achieve their version of success and positively impact their community. For more information, visit them at esgsportsgroup.com or on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Joseph Guzman and Michael McGinnis over there, great guys, helped a lot of players. I've had the privilege of having them on a couple of podcasts with their players, so we're excited to have them as a sponsor. Today's guest is John Posk, head coach at Wilson College. Hey, John, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing great. Here you've got some yard work going on at the field today.
Yeah, we got a little too much humidity this season, this summer, and getting some work in on the field, on the infield, and making sure the grass is healthy there before we get going here in the next few weeks.
That's great. Well, hey, coming from, we were just talking about this earlier, but coming from kind of the central PA area, beautiful time of the year. Fall's just about here. I actually miss it. Moved down south, South Missouri, and we're still in the 90s and humidity is killing us. So I'm jealous.
Yeah, we kind of flipped the switch here, being a guy from, Maryland, just a little bit south of here. It's been beautiful though. I mean, one of the things I do love about the Mid-Atlantic is the four seasons as a person, but as a baseball coach, obviously I will trade in some of those 30 degree days in mid to late February.
Yeah, and they always throw a nice 50-degree day in there, and the baseball guys are always ready to go. And you don't know that the next week you're going to get a foot of snow. So,
yeah, so we deal with those quite a bit here.
All right. Well, hey, we're gonna get started right away. Appreciate you joining the podcast. And you come from Coach O'Connor actually recommended to have you on, and we loved having him on. We always start with kind of the journey. So would love to hear. I know you played professional ball back in your day. So let's start, way back when you first started, kind of caught the bug of baseball, and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, since the day, I picked up, a baseball, it's been kind of my one true love. I did play other sports growing up, but, kind of always mitigated back to baseball, which is funny, actually. My mom is the lone girl in a family of five, and her four brothers were all football players. One of them who actually played for the Redskins, for George Allen. I became a baseball guy and played at DeMatha Catholic High School right outside Washington, D.C., and then graduated from Winthrop University in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and then played 5 years of independent league and a little bit of affiliated ball in between there, and then got into coaching after 4 or 5 years away from the game. Kind of tried to play catch up, with my daughter. Missed a lot of time while I was playing, and kind of caught the coaching bug. Coach with Sean at DeMatha for a while. Took over another high school program, St. Mary's in Annapolis, and then took this job here at Wilson and started the program here in 2017, 2018. So I'm going on my fifth year.
Awesome. Well, we know you guys had a really good year. Before we kind of go back and talk about a couple of things in the past, talk about you guys had a really good year, championship game or series. Let's hear it.
Yeah. Again, I mentioned briefly before, that I started the program from scratch here. Wilson College was an all women's college until
Oh,
2015. So, not that long ago did it go co-ed, and they added men's sports obviously slowly. And I was the first baseball coach here, and had the honor of putting the first team on the field there in the 2018, 2019 season, and that was our first normal year, 21-13 in year one. Lost in the conference semis. Year two, 2020, we were 7-3. And then the shutdown of COVID, literally on March 11th. 2021, we were 21-6 and got swept in the conference championship, 2-0. And then last year, unfortunately, we won game one in the championship and then lost to Keystone College, who's won 17 in a row, conference titles. So we lost in the third game, but ended up 31-11, and was, I thought, a really great season for our program. Being one game from the NCAA tournament.
so when you have a real, I mean, that's 3 years of pretty good, a pretty good ball. How do you as a winning coach? Because we all know how to turn, what we need to do when we've got a losing records and we're you kind of go back to the drawing board and figure it out. How do you build on the success that you have and the players that you've got right now? What do you find the most successful?
Um, I think having the right players is probably the easiest answer to that. Is obviously recruiting for one is the backbone of any program. Getting the right young men into the program first and foremost. And secondly is the culture. I think that that the team has, and that starts the day that that these guys step back on campus, which was 10 days ago for our guys. I just think the leadership qualities of some of your returning guys. We have some guys that are, I'm very fortunate to have back that are doing their masters because they do have that COVID year. They don't want to repeat that feeling. They want a different feeling of, how we went out last year. So they've been great. I think sustaining is just as a player. I just started coaching, less than 15 years ago. So I'm still learning as well. And I think, one of the things that I found out is always kind of finding out, what pushes each, you know, young man on your team's button, what makes them work harder, what makes them want to be successful. And, it's a little bit more time consuming, but I don't really think you could cookie cut, how you coach. I think it's going to be different every year.
Yeah.
I also believe it's going to be different with every player. So some may do well at you getting in their face and challenging them, and where some others may not, and kind of need a hug or that kind of thing to kind of get back going. So for me, that's one of the most enjoyable aspects of coaching is dealing with all the different personalities and what makes these young men tick, and getting them to be successful on the field and then also in the classroom and in the community, and preparing them for life after
Yeah.
baseball.
You mentioned getting the right player in. What does the right player mean to you? What are the traits that you're really looking for Wilson College?
Obviously there's a talent parameter where we're kind of looking at, but I also think for me, being a guy that baseball has just been basically my livelihood, is that you want to find kids that love. When I say kids, I guess that's 17 to 18-year olds, that that love being on the
Yeah.
field. That's their, that they kind of enjoy every aspect of what goes on. I kind of try to teach my players that these 2.5 hours that we're out here should be an escape from everything else that's going on in the world. And so, I would say for me, and I know this kind of might not be the status quo, it might not be, their 60 times necessarily, or their exit velos, or, I love guys that love the game. I love guys that are great teammates. I love guys that are want to be here and be successful. And so for me, I think the love of the game is a huge part of how I
That's
recruit.
that no that makes a huge difference. Didn't we used to call those guys what is the term for baseball guys that can never leave? It's gym rat, right?
Baseball rat, yeah, you got baseball rats, dirt
Dirt
bags.
bags.
We got all sorts of monikers. I'm sure we could use.
We'll
Uh,
go with
yeah, that's how I was.
yep.
So again, I mean, I again as a player, that I mean, I'm obviously not the biggest guy. I played, 5'10", 5'11" on a good day, 185, 100, so again, I don't fit the prototype as a player either. And hard work and love of the game and outworking guys were kind of my ticket to, where I made it. So I love those guys too here. So I recruit a lot of guys very similar to that.
That's great. So when you said you built the program from scratch, you really built it from scratch. I mean, it went from an all girls school to co-ed. What were the biggest challenges with that, and how did you find the most success in getting? I mean, because the whole college had to find the males to come, but you didn't have a big selection when you started. What were some of the things that you did?
Yes. So the cool thing is they did give me a full calendar year, from the time they hired me to, you know, basically, put a team on the field. So I got an entire summer, just to spend basically recruiting at everything that I could possibly be at. And then, once you get the kids to campus, we have a 300-acre campus. It's beautiful. We have, horses on campus. We have a farm on campus. We have a creek on campus, that our guys can fish in. It's beautiful once you get them here. But, just for instance, I'd never heard of Wilson College, obviously
Right.
myself, um, and probably because it was an all women's college. But I thought just the opportunity to start your own program and bring in, the players that you want. You're not inheriting anything from a previous staff. I thought that was a unique challenge that, I took head on and really enjoyed the process.
There's a lot of excuses that are already tailor made for your situation, right? It doesn't sound like you're an excuse kind of guy.
No, I mean, and again, I kind of laugh now. Our athletic director that hired me is now in our physical education department. And, after I was hired and moved up here, some of, between recruiting numbers of where they thought, that we wanted to be the first year to record and what my goals were, I think she thought I was a lunatic. And, and we kind of surpassed all of my expectations, even in year one, going 21-13 and making the conference
Yeah.
playoffs with, you know, 5 freshmen and three junior college transfers. So, again, it was an awesome process. It was step one of, the building process, and, it's kind of taken us to where we are today. And, just that, like I said, having those right players have really set the standard for what Wilson College baseball is about.
There is a lot to be said about loving the love of the game, because they don't make excuses either, because they love to be there. I always go back when I have these interviews. It always takes me back to the beginnings of your baseball career, and how much you loved it, and running around trying to find enough players to put a team together and start playing. And it didn't matter if you won or lost, you just wanted to be out there and doing it. And especially on a team that you're building from scratch, you've got to have those people, because you never know what you're going to have, right? There's you have nothing to compare it to, right? It's
No, I mean, like I said, it was a new thing for me. I obviously, I'd coached before at the high school ranks, and, so you take the jump from high school to college in itself is a big jump. And then, not knowing truly what it will take to win at this level. You're kind of shooting
yeah,
in the dark at first. And, but I think you go back to, like I said, the establishing of, some leaders from day one, that, the study halls, the team lifting that, is not mandatory at the Division III level, that is highly suggested, obviously. And So you just have to, I think, find the right guys and guys that believe and have the same outlook that you do on how successful we can be just by hard work and kind of outworking our
Yeah. Well,
competition.
congratulations again on a phenomenal season. Certainly, winning helps recruiting. When you think about the next couple of years, do you find yourself being a Division III, kind of in that central to South Pennsylvania? Are a lot of the guys that you're looking at, are they around the area, or are you kind of going as far as you need to? What are your, what's going on from that perspective?
So Maryland is actually my home state. It's where I'm from, where I grew up. I coached in both private school leagues when I was there. One is called the WCAC, which is the Washington Catholic Athletic Conference, with the DeMatha, the St. John's. Then you get into your Northern Virginia schools, Paul VI and Bishop O'Connell. And then my head coaching job at St. Mary's is more the Baltimore side. Your Calvert Halls, your Archbishop Spalding, Archbishop Curley. So, having coached in that area for so long and growing up
Yep.
there, I would say that, that is my target area usually. There's only 4 or 5 Division III schools in Maryland, whereas in Pennsylvania, I think there's 50 or 60.
Yep.
So it's, for me, it's home. The connections there are great. But I also have been really lucky that a lot of my teammates from my, professional days are now running travel organizations.
Okay.
So, 7 Florida kids on our roster here. One of my teammates from Johnstown, he runs a travel organization in Connecticut, sent me a picture this year. We have a Puerto Rican guy. We have an Australian pitcher.
Awesome.
So, again, I leave no stones unturned on trying to make us the best program we can be.
That's great.
Year. An old teammate from my time actually in the Frontier League was a pitcher in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and just local guy in his community, and came over. So it's been, like I said, it's been a fun thing. I don't unfortunately have a ton of connections, as far as all around the world.
Yeah.
But, Florida's been really good to us, and Maryland and Pennsylvania, and then we've even got into some of the Northern Virginia area, as well. But again, I don't leave any stone turned when it comes to recruiting. I try to get the best guys, and
Yep.
The one tough thing is getting those Southern guys to come up here and want to, battle the elements, obviously, when they're leaving a baseball playing state, 11, 10, 11 months out of the year.
Yeah. No, that's great. All right, so let's turn the clock back a bit. Let's talk about your professional career. You said 5 years at the independent leagues. Played for a number of teams.
I did.
I know things have changed, but there's still a lot of independent leagues out there. There's summer leagues are getting really big from a professional perspective. I think they're pulling up, picking up a lot of the slack from the minor leagues. So I think the talent is getting, the talent's always been there. What are some experiences that you had that you loved? Some of the things that were struggles and things that, some players are thinking about going that direction. Some things that you might want to encourage them or give them some advice.
First and foremost, just, for me, it was, like I said, I think I started playing, I don't know, at 4 or 5, whatever it was. And, and then at college, I kind of wanted to continue, now that I had a degree in my back pocket. So I attended some open tryouts, drove myself from South Carolina down, and, performed well and signed with a team in Richmond, Indiana in the Frontier League. And, that began the journey. And I looked at it this way at 22, when I graduated, if someone was going to pay me, to play baseball for, 30 days a month, I kind of looked at it as a no-brainer. And, again, I think, as long as you have, you're still putting a uniform on and having an opportunity to go out and perform, and then, you throw in the fans and, stuff like that. Some of these independent towns that I did play in were, unbelievable places that had great fans, and I went and put decent numbers up my first 2 years and signed with the Orioles. Went to spring training, worked out underneath at Camden, the off season with a lot of the returning guys, and had a very short-lived career there, and then back to independent ball. But, like I said, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yep.
Were there some bumps along the road, living that lifestyle? Yeah, absolutely. I joke with our guys as we're at a Division III school and we're taking chartered buses, to every game. I mean, some of the stories that I could tell you from my playing days in the 98 through 2002, were buses with no air conditioning to 25 grown men with the coaching staff, squeezed in with guys with pool rafts sleeping in the middle of the aisles to the $16 a day meal money that we got. It was definitely not a glamorous life.
Right.
But like I said, for me it was a chance to to compete at a high level and just again to continue to play the game that I loved. And
Yeah.
I think at some point you come to the realization that I probably could have done it for, a few more years and still done it. But, at that point when I retired, I had a 2-year-old and, made a decision to, that, catching up on some lost time,
Yep.
As a dad was more important to me than continuing. And, my career trajectory at that point, I don't think was going up anymore at 27. So, I just kind of made that decision. And, the funny part is if somebody would have told me at 45 what I would be doing, coaching, I would have laughed. I had no aspirations to coach.
Yeah.
Luckily got asked to realize the impact that you can have on some of these young men's lives.
Yep.
And pretty much haven't turned back since then.
It is, I think the bug of baseball, I think this has a lot to do with a lot of sports. You always talk about being in the game. You've been in the game for 30 years, right? 35 years. You never leave it.
Yeah, 40.
And yeah, exactly. 40 years, right? And I feel the same way. Things didn't work out, but things do work out, and you find out what your real passions are. And what I love about high school coaches, college coaches. This is obviously not for everyone, but the primary group of these coaches are really looking to help raise young men, and
Absolutely.
there is a huge responsibility in that. It kind of makes me, I just was chuckling about when you're talking about the buses that you would take. The same thing for me when I was young. When Michael Jordan went to the White Sox and he bought those charter buses for the players, I don't think anybody realized how bad it was even at that level, and take that times 10 with what it was at independent leagues and I played American Legion. It was bad. And kids today, if they complain, you just kind of laugh and to think about what we had to put up with.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't trade any of it. I mean, I look back at,
Yep.
you said the bus rides or some of the flooding locker rooms that we were, or, whatever the case may be. But those are the things, that I honestly, when people ask me what I miss, I mean, physically, obviously I can't do what I once did as a player. I can still throw BP and hit fungos and,
Yep.
Got a little game left, but at 45, I'm obviously not the player I was then. The things that I miss the most are those crazy things.
Yep.
Those bus rides, the locker room, the eating the hot dogs from the concession stand after the games. I mean, it's trivial, but when you look back on it, the friendships and the
Yep.
The struggle together or what kind of bonds you with those guys, and it's a different group every summer for the most part. So,
Right.
Some lifelong friends that I gained from it, and I wouldn't trade any of those days, obviously, for anything. And like you said, I'll tell you, when you say about finding your calling, I obviously, can recall the excitement when I did sign my first pro contract, and I'll tell you a funny story. It actually happened probably about 30 days ago. Being a new program, I obviously try to get my guys in, my players in the best college summer leagues that I can. And, we've done really well with that along, luckily with, sending guys to the Cal Ripken League, which is in the DC area. It's
Yep.
an all Batwood league. We've had guys in the Valley League. We had sent our first one to the Northwoods League this
Oh,
summer,
great.
which is, the second best rated summer league in the country.
Yep.
Uh, Guys in the Great Lakes League, some in the Carolinas. Long story short, one of my converted infielders was one of our bullpen arms last year. He's a transfer, came in as a utility infielder. Told me last year that he could pitch, so we kind of threw him with some injuries about halfway through the season. And he really blossomed on the mound for us and became probably our best reliever. He went to the Cal Ripken League this summer and made first team all league for the Ripken League. And about 4 weeks ago, I was out recruiting and got a phone call from one of the GMs for Wareham Gateman in the Cape, and my player Jake Whittington actually ended up finishing in the Cape Cod League.
Nice.
2 weeks of the summer and had 2 appearances. I think he was one of only 3 Division III players in the country that played in the Cape Cod League. So,
Wow.
Kind of funny when I say I literally had goosebumps from, head to toe when I got that phone call. And it was kind of ironic and funny in the sense that I think I was more happy for him than I was when I signed my contract to play. So how much you mentioned before of, how much we invest in these young men and,
Yep.
and again, I couldn't have been happier for him. And obviously he's, one of my leaders here. He's doing his master's now, and, just, how far he's come as a player and a young man. And that's where you kind of, I don't think even as a coach is 24/7 as I am, with it, is taking a step back and kind of looking at that impact, you can make on these guys.
No, it is so true. The day-to-day grind, you kind of forget what it's all about, and when you step back, you get those phone calls. It's how it's what it's all about, and I commend you for that. I think that is awesome. I mean, and you can also appreciate that tree behind you is beautiful. What a beautiful day. I was actually looking on Google Maps and on the pictures in that campus. You're right. That's gorgeous, and had the it had the horse, a lot of horses. Is that one of the big majors there?
It is. So it's equine studies and nursing are 2 of the big majors. Hence when it was an all women's college.
Yeah.
One of the things I will say that since I've been here, we've done a great job as a college. We've added a lot of the new progressive things. So our guys, in our program, we have it all over the place. We do have some. Another big one here is vets. So it's one of the
Okay.
colleges in the that you can become a veterinarian.
Yep.
So it's again, some unique majors, but we also offer your businesses, your accountings, your criminal justice, exercise science, with personal training, physical therapy
Yep.
side. But I mean, I'm literally sitting in a chair here on campus right now, and it's probably 85 degrees, gorgeous. But I love it. Like I said, I wouldn't, being a Maryland guy, I do love the 4 seasons.
Yep.
I had the 4th one I want to go pretty quickly and in December and January and be gone.
It's a good time to It's a good time to reflect. I think the guys in the South, they never slow down, and there's something to be said about taking some time off and reflecting and focusing maybe on some other things.
Yeah, absolutely. I will tell you, I'm a huge advocate for mental health.
Yep.
Things that's kind of been near and dear to me. Actually, after I stopped playing, I went through some panic attacks and really wasn't sure what it was, obviously, at that point. And you live that lifestyle of so fast paced.
Yep.
Things kind of slow down. I don't think your body really knows. And so I've become a huge advocate for that and a real open door policy with my players or, any athletes, obviously, on campus. And obviously at an older age now, I've got some more tools in my toolbox.
Yep.
And, talking about the creek that runs through campus, I actually do my meditation down there sometimes.
Well, there you go.
Just my 10 to 15 minutes a piece. And, getting away from everything and putting the phone away
Yeah.
and the recruiting away. So I try to take that every time, and I try to even get it involved with my players. We do it before practice now. The attention span of an 18 to 22-year-old to sit still for 15 minutes. So we've started with the 2-minute ones at this point, and I think we'll work our way up. But I look back at it as even in my playing career, whether it be high school, college. If I could have learned to maybe control my breathing a little bit better in bigger spots, you watch a lot of games on TV and you'll see a lot of the big league guys, whether it's the pitcher
Yeah.
or the guy at the plate, doing some deep breaths and how much it really slows the game down. So, again, I think that's just an added bonus, like you said, of, the big picture of me being a collegiate coach is, again, with COVID the last 2 years, these kids have gone through a whirlwind, and giving them some tools that maybe help out with, or just having another adult that they can have some, conversations with,
Yep.
Of being uncomfortable. And it's okay. That's what I tell them. It's okay not to be okay all the time.
Yep.
So, I love that. And like I said, that's the pride I take in having, honestly, the honor of coaching, college level kids.
I think that's great. Hey, Coach, this is a good time to kind of wrap it up. I appreciate the opportunity to really get to know you. This has been a really good interview. I appreciate you reaching out and being able to do this. Is there? I always kind of finish the podcast with kind of shout outs or anybody that maybe in your life that really helped you kind of get to where you are now. And this is a great opportunity for you to maybe say, hey, thanks, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, more than you know. I mean, honestly, I've done quite a few of these and never had that opportunity. But, a few people that are major influences in my life are, my mom, my dad, and my stepdad. I lost my dad 3 years ago to cancer, at a young age. My daughter who, my parents, obviously, for instilling in me some great values and raising me the right way. I've tried to translate that into being a father myself. My daughter's a Division III volleyball coach.
Oh.
She literally just finished playing 14 months ago and is now the new head coach at the program she played at.
Awesome.
She's been a huge part of this for me as well. And then, newly married again. So, my wife and my two stepdaughters, are all, the kind of the Coach Pos team, from my parents, my mom, my dad, my stepdad, my daughter, my wife, and my two stepdaughters, have been unbelievable, a support system for me. So
That's great.
I love them all to death and can't thank them enough for being there for me along this ride.
I think that's fantastic, Coach. This has been an honor. It's been a lot of fun. Really appreciate it, and good luck with everything. Have a great off season, and we'll be cheering for you for next year. We need the championship at Wilson College, right?
Sure, we're going to do our best to get it.
All right, thank you.
All right, have a great one. Thank you so much for having me.
Yep, no problem. Thanks for listening, guys. Appreciate you guys joining us today. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.